and welcome to another fun-filled Friday episode
Fun
of
Friday!
Fun Friday, Ripping the Rack podcast.
Woo-hoo!
We are down a man. This time we are down Brian. That's okay. Brian is off taking care of some personal matters.
Yep.
He'll be back not next week because, as a reminder, we will not be on the air next week. We are taking a week off. No Tuesday show, no Friday show.
We're throwing everybody off. Monday night, I wasn't here for the Candlepin show, and Brian's not here for Free Fun Friday, and then there's nobody here next week.
No one here because, frankly, I need a vacation, and I'm going to be in the land of Sin City doing Sin City stuff that you're supposed to do when you're in Sin City.
What happens in Vegas, bro?
Except for herpes, that shit will follow you anywhere.
That shit will follow you anyway. You better be careful of that.
That's right. that will follow you anywhere.
Yeah, that's gotta suck.
God, I assume it does.
That's gotta suck. I don't know.
I don't know. Penicillin is great.
Penicillin's a hell of a drug.
Man, this conversation already. Sorry, Brian.
I was gonna say, if you have any comments or concerns about herpes, please email Ripping the Rack podcast at Ripping the Rack
at gmail.com.
Absolutely.
Yes, we would love to hear your herpes stories.
Send us over some Insta-cures for Tim when he comes back. Let us know any get-rich-quick schemes so we can get his money back because he's going to Vegas for a week, so it's either herp or nothing.
Well, you know, the joy is when I go to Vegas, because this is my 7th time going.
7?
Yeah.
Wow, yeah. I've never been. It's a bucket list thing for me. I always wanted to go.
Here's what I'm going to tell you that I tell everyone about Vegas. 2 things. 1, everybody should go at least once in their life. Mm-hmm. There is so much to do in Vegas that you don't have to gamble. If you don't want to gamble, don't gamble. The last time we were out there, I gambled a total of 30 minutes for an entire week. Yeah. Andrew was taking a nap. I went down to the casino, sat at a $5 blackjack table, and I played for a half an hour, broke even. Actually, I made 50 cents. That's right, 50 cents because I hit a blackjack. Woohoo!
There's a win.
It's a win. I go to Vegas because, number 1, I love the weather. Yep. I'm a hot weather kind of guy. Give me heat. Give me heat. My body doesn't hurt when it's hot like that.
True.
True story. I turned 50 this year. I hurt in places that I didn't even know I could hurt. Arthritis is a wonderful thing. I'm kidding. It's not wonderful at all.
That's gotta suck.
It does. It does, especially when it's, when
you're like a glimpse into my future because I'm 10 years younger than you. I'm going to be 40 in July. And so you're like a glimpse into my future.
Yeah.
So all the shit that you're saying hurts now, I'm just like, oh boy, here it comes.
No,
fantastic.
I legit hurt for about 7 months out of the year. Now, I'm not talking about debilitating pain like some people have with really bad arthritis and things like that. That's not what I'm talking about.
Well, that's good anyway.
Good. When I'm talking about hurting, it means like my back hurts, my knees hurt, and I'm not talking from being on them. They hurt because of my arthritis in both knees.
I was leaving that one alone, but since you went there, that's what she said.
That's what she said.
Right.
My
more
shoulder
achy than hurting.
I'm
maybe
achy. Yes.
Achy. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's the weather. Living in Maine.
Yep.
Which is a beautiful state.
Oh, absolutely.
The weather sucks about 7 months out of the year.
Yeah.
Roughly. It starts to get decent in May. June, July, August, September. I love it. It's wonderful, except for the black flies and the skeeters. It's wonderful. And then come October, it's like, okay, I can feel it. I wake up in the morning, I'm like, yeah.
Here it comes.
And then it's just fucking miserable from, November through March, April. It's miserable for me. And yet I still bowl. whatever.
Because we have to. It's where we live. We're just used to these things. But now you're at a point where you've done your bit for king and country, right? Raised your children, you're
Yep.
married, you did all the things. Now you could potentially, in a few years, when you get to retirement age, you could go and retire out to a beautiful, nice, warm place like that.
I would love
I know
to.
you're still a little ways away from that. I
I
know
am.
that, but
I would love to, except for there's a big but here.
big old.
Well, I'm not gonna say my wife has a big old butt, but
I
that
was
is
talking about Angie. Hi, Angie. I
no,
love you.
that
honey.
is the but I was talking about is the fact that I have a wife who does not want to be away from the kids, and the kids all live in the mid-coast area of Maine.
Take them with you. No, you. I thought
I'm
you were
sorry, I
sitting on
didn't hear
like
you.
eight.
I'm
I thought
sorry,
you were
you went.
sitting on like 8 or 9 million, bro. Like you could build them a house over there
Oh yeah,
somewhere, can't you?
I'm definitely. I'm sitting
I
on
didn't mean
also.
you had to live in the same house. You could just build them other houses
Yeah,
on the other side.
yeah.
Can't you do
Like
that shit?
you could.
You hit the
Um,
Powerball by then. You
well,
never know.
that is my redneck retirement right there. Is the
That's a
Powerball and Mega Millions,
good plan.
uh, which I almost hit last night in Mega Millions. I
Got it.
almost no, I like legit. I actually got a good one last night. $40, baby, coming this way. Almost
Dude, for $1 Powerball ticket to hit $40, that's not bad.
$2.
Two,
$2.
oh,
They're
$2.
$2.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, $40. I'm like, fuck yeah. All right, I'm going to Vegas on Saturday. That's
$40, baby. Let's go.
that's
Put it
gonna be
all
gone
on red.
that,
When you get there, you get that $40. Keep those 220s in your pocket. When you get there, just put 220s on red.
Yep.
Guaranteed double.
Or black, red or black, depending on, it depends. So the long story short is, with Vegas, it is adult Disneyland. It is the city that never sleeps, and it truly is that way. It's from a gambling perspective, I take what I'm willing to lose.
Yep.
I know the house has the edge. The house always has the edge.
Right.
They wouldn't make their money if they didn't have the edge.
It's true. It wouldn't be there if they weren't making more money than they pay out.
Right. So I go knowing that if I gamble, number one, it's entertainment for me.
Right.
So if I go out with, $500 to gamble with, it's entertainment for the week.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some people like 500 for a week. I know I have friends of mine that will go out specifically to gamble. They go out for 4 days. They take $5,000 with them and they gamble. Good. That's what you're willing to lose.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be cool to do that every once in a while, but
I mean, if we had it, sure. If you had an extra 5 or 10 grand in the bank to go and just sit at tables for 2-3 days in a row, solid. Yeah. But there is plenty of other shit to do out there, right?
Oh God, yeah. There's shows, there's
restaurants,
food. I mean, the sheer amount of food in restaurants out there would boggle your mind. Now I know you live pretty damn close to Boston.
All things. I mean, I grew up right next to. I could throw a rock and hit the garden. Pretty much.
There's tons of places to eat in Boston.
Yep.
Okay. One corner, Tropicana Avenue and Las Vegas Boulevard. One corner has more hotel rooms on that one corner than the entire city of San Francisco.
Get out of here.
One corner.
My God.
MGM, New York, Luxor, MGM, New York, Excalibur, and Tropicana. Those are the 4 hotels. There are more hotel rooms just on that corner with those 4.
Yeah.
The entire city of San Francisco.
That is amazing. That is insane. Well, I'd also imagine a lot more people are going to Vegas than going to San Francisco.
They are.
Yeah.
They are. I mean, look, San Francisco's a major city.
I've been there once. It's gorgeous there in certain parts of it. I crossed the Golden Gate Bridge myself. It's one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen.
Yep.
But Vegas has its own luster and appeal.
Do I have friends that have gone that didn't enjoy themselves? Yes. Few and far between, though. I've been out in what would be considered chilly weather. It was like 70 degrees. And I've been out when it was damn hot. It was 114 degrees the last time I was out there. That's too hot, by the way. I will tell you.
Yes. So I have a friend of mine, an ex-girlfriend that lives in Vegas. Hi, Kelly, if you're watching this. And she has told me that eventually you get used to 120 degrees in the desert.
Yep.
But there are people out here who say, oh, it's a dry heat. It's not that bad. Well, Kelly is from here in New England, and she went out there, and for the first 3 years, she said it was oppressively miserable. So
Yes.
as far as how dry the air is, that I don't think that gives a shit if you could still fry an egg on the sidewalk.
Here's the thing that people don't understand. Yes, it's dry. So when it's 95 out there,
Yeah.
To me, it is beautiful. I am walking around in shorts and a t-shirt or shorts and a golf shirt.
Yeah.
Drinking plenty of water because it is a desert.
Right. Right.
You know, it was funny the last time Angie and I were out in Vegas. We woke up in the morning, turned on the TV, turned on the news, and was like, okay, what's the weather going to be like? I know it's going to be warm. I know it's going to be sunny. And the weatherman, the meteorologist, actually stops and says, now we need to talk about the humidity. And he goes, for those of you from away are probably laughing at us right now, but for here, it's very humid. It was like 22% humidity.
Really?
Which is extremely humid for out there.
I mean, for the desert, yeah.
So for here, they consider it brisk when it's 50% humid.
Right. Yeah, anything like 50% humidity and underneath is a gorgeous,
like,
crisp day. It's lovely. Yeah.
Okay, it was 22% out there, and they were talking about how humid it was.
Oh my God.
I laughed. I literally laughed. I'm like, it's. But anyway, look, we could do a whole show on Vegas and Vegas shows and the food, and
we'll have to do that when you get back. You'll have to give us a little synopsis of the Materos trip to Vegas. We'd love to hear that.
I will tell you if you go, if it's you and Mel and you guys go.
Someday. Yes, someday.
You need to go see a show. It's called The Puppetry of the Penis.
I have seen it.
It is one of the funniest shows I've ever seen.
I've never seen it live. I saw it on like a bootleg YouTube video.
Yeah.
Somebody did that, and I watched it. I laughed my ass off.
So the first time. So most people that know my wife know her to be she's very funny. She likes to have a good time, and she likes to laugh.
Absolutely.
But she's very conservative with her body and things like that. And I'm not going to say she's naive, because I don't think she's naive. Maybe she's a little bit naive. So everybody knows me. Let's face it. I'm pretty much who I am. I'm a perv. We like it. Look, I got a boob book. It is what it is. Okay.
Kudos to you, good sir. I do not have a booby book. You are a lucky man.
My wife bought it for me. She was like, here, you will enjoy this.
She's a beautiful woman.
She is.
She's a beautiful woman.
And so she's like, I got tickets to a show. Okay. Now I'm thinking, oh, what are we going to see? Like Cirque du Soleil, we're going to Zumanity, we're going to Mystere,
Blue Man. What are you going to see?
What are we going to see? She goes, Puppetry of the Penis. And I went, what?
That's the last thing.
It is literally, it is in the sex museum. There is a museum about sex.
Really?
Which is actually really cool.
Okay.
I will admit, I like museums. I'm a history guy. I like museums.
Absolutely.
Okay. This was a museum that had everything from the, King Tut era phallic symbols to porn to, they had a thing on Hitler and the whole Nazi,
through all the ages, different ideas and different things permeated about sex. And as, a lot of religion intervened, things got a lot more taboo and conservative. But you look back at the Roman times and they would just walk around touching each other's penises all over the place. It wasn't a big deal. So it was where you were, what age you were. And having a museum of all that's actually very interesting.
It was actually pretty. I told Angie, I said, honestly, this was and it was cheap. It's like $10 to get in to the museum. I'm like, that's like the best $20 I think we've spent. It was a blast. Anyway, we go to this show, and I'm like, Puppeteer of the Peanuts. What the hell? What? And she had seen a little clip, so she knew more than me. And I'm like, she's like, no, they make puppets out of their junk. I'm like,
yes,
no, I know. So I'm like, what? So we get in. We literally are sitting in the front row.
Yeah.
And I'm like, she
like, bought front row tickets to the Dick Show.
I'm like, really? And there's these two guys behind us, two gay guys. And my wife turns and says, would you guys like to sit here? And we'll just sit where you guys sit. And the guy's like, yeah, that'd be great. So we ended up swapping seats. But these two guys come out in a cape. They each have a cape on. They come out to the stage and they're doing their shtick, and the cape comes off, and they are frolicky bare ass naked.
Yep.
And they start making puppets out of their junk. And I am teared. I like literally laughing at because they're funny. Like it's a comedy routine at the same time doing things. So they're like their big shtick is they make their junk into a hamburger.
Yes.
And they teach you how to do it.
Yes.
They're like, and they tell you, are there any guys in here that would like to come up on stage? I was that close to going up. I really was. I was like, I looked at Anne, she was like, no. I'm like, I want to
do it.
I'm in Vegas. No one knows me here.
Right. Who cares?
I said, they're going to see a hamburger and then they're going to see a slider. It's okay. And she busted out.
Slider.
She busted out laughing. So so people, this is, by the way, we are going to do our top 10 funny people list.
This does segue into a top 10 list of the funniest people we've ever heard of. Yes, by talking about this show.
And I'm number one on my list.
Oh, God.
It just is. No,
that's a beautiful thing.
So, and we have now seen the show twice.
Okay, yeah.
So we went back the next year. She wanted to see it again, and it wasn't as funny the second time. It was humorous, but I'm like, okay, I've seen it.
Same show?
Same show.
Like they did the same, yeah.
Yeah, same two guys. I mean, there's a couple of different little things they do, but it's still the same thing. But it was just, oh my God. But I mean, that's Vegas. Like,
right.
It's just when they say anything goes for the most part, you make Vegas what you want to make it. If you want to go to bed at 10 o'clock at night and wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, then go to bed at 10 o'clock at night, wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Vegas is still up at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Right. There's still got to be plenty of shit going on for people like that.
Everything except for shows are available at 6 o'clock in the morning. Okay. Yeah, there's some roller coaster. New York has a roller coaster. Yeah, it's not open. That doesn't open until like 9 or whatever. But your gambling is 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of your restaurants are 24 hours. You can get
served alcohol 24 hours?
You can get served alcohol 24 hours.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
So if you wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, you're like, fuck it, I want a beer.
Yo, I've seen some champions do it, man. We've been there at Worlds Week. We've seen some champions. Seen some people do it.
So anyway,
Tim, let's
we will have an episode on Vegas, even though we just spent 15 minutes talking about it. We will have an entire episode on vacation spots, Vegas, whatever it is. We'll do something.
That's a great idea. I'd love to hear about how your trip went too once you come back.
Yeah, we'll
segue that all together.
Yeah. So let's jump in, folks. We've done a couple of top 10 lists lately. And I had this idea because Brian and I have talked about our top comedies before. And then the three of us talked a little bit about it the other day, or the other Friday. 2 Fridays ago. Yeah. So I was like, let's do top 10. And I didn't want to do just comedians. So I was like, let's do top 10 funny people.
Because there's so many genres of comedy, whether you're an actor, whether you're a comedian, whether you're a funny commercial guy, whether you're an actor that does television and stand up as well. There's so many broad definition of what comedy is, and very few of these people only fit one.
Right.
So let's just call everybody a funny person and let's rank.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought that was a great idea.
Yeah. So we're gonna jump in. Brian, again, Brian not being with us. He is taking care of some stuff at home. He's all good. Everyone's good. So it's nothing, he'll be back next week. Well, in 2 weeks.
Life happens. We all have those
happens.
nights where it kicks us in the ass and we all miss a podcast here or there, but things are okay. We carry on.
Yep.
He gave us his list though, right?
He did. So
Very good.
I'll start with Brian.
Yes.
Brian's number 10, which is interesting. He is in my honorable mentions. Dennis Leary.
Oh,
Massachusetts guy.
Put him in my list.
Yeah, I mean he's not. He was down on my. I almost have another top 20 list of like 11 through 20, but Brian went with Dennis Leary. I can understand. I have no problem with him being in someone's top 10. The dude's
hilarious. Even in some serious movies that he's been in, he's played some little bit parts. I think back to the movie Suicide Kings with Christopher Walken. Yeah, he played like one of the Irish mob, like in the but he was like one of those strong arm guys.
Yep.
But everything about him was this like asshole from South Boston, but he made everybody laugh in the movie.
Yeah.
But he was supposed to be a bad guy. He was supposed to be an asshole.
Yep.
But everything that he's done, he's absolutely hilarious, and he really is.
Yeah, no, he's a funny dude, and he look, if you want to have a checkbox list of funny people, he can check. I can see him checking off actor, comedian, stand up, just TV.
Musician. Google the song "Asshole"
right.
and you will laugh for about 4 minutes.
Yep.
Done that song karaoke a few times. People don't like you when you sing "asshole" karaoke, but I laugh my own ass off, so I don't care.
Who do you got for number 10?
So for number 10, I went to kind of the opposite end of the spectrum. I know this guy's had a lot of negative things that have surrounded him in recent times. However, if you get rid of all that and you go back and you look at what he did for comedy, I have Bill Cosby at number 10.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, one of the first stand-up riffs that I ever watched on like video or that I remember was Bill Cosby himself. And he just goes this hour and a half long, clean.
It was an amazing comedy bit, stand-up routine.
Yes.
That remained clean the entire time. I don't think there's one swear word. Is there one?
One. He was talking about when people do cocaine.
Okay.
And he said to another guy, "Why would you do it?" And he says, the other guy says, "Well, it intensifies your personality." And then Bill Cosby answers back by saying, "Yes, but what if you're an asshole?"
Yeah.
That's it. Even like when I was like 5, 6 years old, my mom was like, the hell with it. Let him watch it. That's fine.
Yeah.
But and then you go through the Cosby Show all through the years and the Jell-O pudding commercials and all the memes that have been made about him online. He's just an overall funny dude. I know there's all the other stuff that happened in later years. I'm ignoring.
I've got to take that stuff out of it.
Yes.
Because it doesn't diminish the fact that he is one of the funniest people.
Yes.
Entertainers that was out there.
Did he ever do a movie?
Oh God, yeah.
Ghost Dad. He was in Ghost Dad. That movie was awful when I was a kid. I didn't like it.
It was terrible, but he was in a bunch of things.
Was he?
Yeah. He had a lot of stuff in the 70s, 70s and 80s and stuff like that. So,
would you have number 10?
My number 10 is. I struggled putting him at this number. I went with Stephen Lynch.
Oh.
So Stephen Lynch.
Yes.
Is one of the most creative. Number one, the dude can shred on a guitar. So if you don't know who Stephen Lynch is, and that's with a PH, Stephen with a PH, he is a songwriting genius, and he is a classically trained singer. The dude has a fantastic voice, singing voice. But his songs, Special Ed,
Google Ugly Baby.
Ugly Baby.
Won't be disappointed.
Yep. I could listen to him and watch him over and over again. He is not an actor. I've never seen him. I've never seen him in a movie. I've never seen him in TV. He is a straight stand-up comedian that sings. So I went with
and he did several Comedy Central showcase hours, several of them.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And there's a ton of him going around and playing little small pubs and taking his act to places. And they're packing 500 people into a place that only fits 210.
Yeah.
This guy is that much of a cult following underneath him. He really does.
He's
so funny.
Just Google him. Go to YouTube. I mean, his songs are so wrong. They are so wrong.
By far, yes. But that's why they're absolutely hilarious.
That's why they're absolutely hilarious. So, and you got to watch him too, because it's his facial expressions when he sings, when he does things. I mean, I can listen to him, but to watch him, it's pretty good.
Special friend. His mama dropped him on his head.
Oh yeah,
now he thinks he's a piece of bread.
He's a little bit special. Oh,
that's
God.
the last time you'll hear Singer on Ripping the Rack podcast.
No, it won't be the last time.
Probably not, no.
Who do you got number 9?
Okay, number 9. So I have Bill Cosby, very family-friendly television show for years, culturally famous. I went the total opposite end of the spectrum for number 9. Number 9, I took Andrew Dice Clay.
Dice Man Cometh.
The Dice Man Cometh. If you don't know Andrew, like the kids may not have heard.
Doc.
Oh my God! So this
sucking my.
Oh my God! Little boy blue, cause he needed the money. So he is the complete antithesis of a family comedian.
Oh my God!
But he was so shocking. So what led me? I love Dice, and my old man loved Dice. Even when I was a little kid, my dad would let me sit next to him, and we used to watch like an Andrew Dice Clay tape, those VCR things that you put in Josh Daly. You know, you had to rewind them and shit. So this Andrew Dice Clay made a premiere. Rodney Dangerfield introduced Andrew Dice Clay to the world.
Yep.
That immediately gives you credence.
Yep.
And then Dice proceeded to throw the world on top of its head before Howard Stern, before Eminem, before these guys that went out there and said the things that nobody was to say in public or in a court. Dice said them all.
Yep.
Dice said them all. He gave no fucks. This dude from Long Island, New York, and there was nothing clean about him.
He came on quick,
and then just
burned out quick.
Yes.
It was like it was just he was your original shock jock, basically.
Yeah.
That I mean, he was so funny though. I mean,
so funny for like the 5 years that he was a thing.
Oh, I mean, I used to be able to. I can't do it now though. I used to be able to sit back and do his whole nursery rhyme bit, because that was one of the funniest things that he did was, you know, that whole spiel of everything from the Hickory Dickory Dock to, you know, Mary, Mary, quite contrary. Shave that, you know.
Shave that beaver. It's so damn hairy. Oh.
God, Dice Clay. Nice.
Jack and Jill went up the hill, each with $1.50. Jill came down with $3. Oh.
Oh my God. Jack be nimble, Jack be quick. Yeah, we won't go there. Anyway, Jack burned off his fucking dick. So,
yes.
My number 9.
Number 9, good sir. Yes. What do you
my number 9, I went with an actor, director extraordinaire.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
Known to many for Spaceballs, History of the World Part 1, Blazing Saddles. One Mel Brooks.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mel Brooks has already made an appearance on the list. I will stop and applaud that man.
Comedic genius of multiple genres. I mean, just he just yes. I mean, we talked.
Sometimes what's funny 20 years ago isn't funny now. Obviously, the times we live in, that's self-evident. And Mel Brooks was an actor and a director and an entertainment figure for some 35 years.
Yep.
Imagine how much the culture had changed and the different movies that he had made.
And if you watch Blazing Saddles now, the uncut version, not the TV version.
No, the TV version's 36 minutes long. You can't watch it.
It is just as funny now is when it came out in what 1978 or 79, whatever it was.
74. I think it was 74. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just as funny now as it was. That matter of fact, I might even think it's more funny now because you can't make it. You cannot make that movie. No way in hell can you make that movie now. You can't do it.
No.
So I had Mel Brooks.
I love that pick.
Brian's number 9, and I knew this was coming. It is one of his favorite comedians, the king of one-liners, Mitch Hedberg.
And you can't argue with that either. That is a great pick.
Yeah.
All right,
I'm not going to speak much on Mitch Hedberg. I don't have him in my list. He is funny. He's very funny. I just, when I look at my list, I'm like, who do I take out? It's the same reason why, newsflash, I don't have Stephen Wright on my list.
Right.
And I think he's one of the funniest dudes ever.
I don't think he's that funny.
He's
kind of funny, don't get me wrong, but I would never think of him in a top 10 funniest people ever. Just angry, angsty. My car broke down again, but I forgot my keys, so whatever.
I poured spot remover on my dog, and now he's gone.
Yeah.
I mean, the shit that he gave me, I put a telescope on my door. I can see who's coming from 8,000 miles away. I mean, but anyway, Mitch Hedberg. Brian had Mitch Hedberg at number 9. Great pick. Can't argue about it. There's nothing
hilarious comedian. Taken too early. Years ago.
Yep.
I think did I just lose you there?
Yeah, but now you're back.
Okay, hi. How you doing? I'm back.
Hey, yeah.
No, he was taken from us far too early.
Yeah.
He died a few years ago. So.
Yeah. Let's see. Number 8. I'll take this one. Okay. I am going with a local Maine guy who happens to, I believe, is the funniest guy to ever come out of the state of Maine. Uncle Bob Marley.
I love you. I love you for saying Bob Marley.
I have seen him. I've seen him live. And literally, look, I love comedians. I have gone to quite a few comedy shows, both big name comedy shows, and then like an Uncle Bob Marley. This guy, number one, he's a fucking riot.
He is.
Period. End of story.
Beyond a riot. He's so funny.
Number 2, his stories and the way he delivers it, I can picture it. I can see it happening. Like his ability to tell a story. He is a classic storyteller.
He's a perfect storyteller. He does good stand-up, but he's not a one-liner guy. He's not a joke guy. He is absolutely a story guy. And you're absolutely right. He reminds me of an uncle I have. And his sisters remind me, oh God, Martha. They remind me of a couple of my aunts from growing, like, it's ridiculous. Especially for our Canadian friends who may go, Bob Marley, who the hell's that guy? So think about a Boston, New Englander, everything you think about us, our accents and everything that we say. And now listen to a 50-some-year-old guy heckle his whole family and make fun of all of them in that accent, making the funniest faces you ever seen in your life. There is nothing funnier on a local level than this guy.
The coolest thing about Bob Marley is, number one, he's been on your late night TV shows. He is an actor. He was in Boondock Saints.
Mm-hmm.
His stand-up when he goes outside of New England is still phenomenal. And he doesn't do it in a Maine accent. And he tells stories, but he doesn't do it the way he does it here. Because if he's in Los Angeles on The Tonight Show, is it really going to play? If he's speaking in a Maine accent?
Only if you had seen a lot of his stuff from before that.
Or if you knew people from Maine. Or if...
Right.
So he has that uncanny ability to do that stand-up in a way that's just funny. I just find him absolutely hilarious. And
agreed.
His whole pandemic, I don't know if you follow him on Facebook.
Oh, I do. I watch his videos almost every day.
they're for 2 to 3 minute snippets of the life of Bob Marley.
Yes.
And he's fantastic.
Do yourselves a favor. Follow this man on Facebook, Bob Marley Comedy. Little 5-minute, make you laugh today moments every single day.
Every day. He has owned that. It's been great. Brian had someone that I had number 10. Brian had Stephen Lynch at number 8.
Love that pick. At number 8, I have Will Ferrell. Okay. He is hilarious to me. I have him this low because he's not done. There's a lot of comedians that are already done with their careers, like Bill Cosby and some of these guys. They're done, and this is where they rank. I don't think Will Ferrell's done yet, and I couldn't put him any higher because of the people above him, and that's the sick part. And we all know Will Ferrell. We all know why he's hilarious. The man can play any character. He can do any accent. He has shown up hosting award shows in a character from one of his movies. The man is literal comedic genius.
Yes.
I have to say nothing more about him.
I have Will Ferrell. I have him up higher. On my list. Brian actually does not have, which surprises me. Was very surprised that he does not have Will Ferrell on his list.
That is surprising.
It is very surprising. I like his list. I'm obviously I'm cheating because I can see it.
It's not fair.
Will Ferrell to me is you know, we throw around the term, and I've used it a few times now, comedic genius and whatnot. We could argue that every one of our top 10 is a comedic genius.
Absolutely.
Because there are thousands upon thousands of comedians, funny people out there. Will Ferrell is a true classic comedic genius.
Agreed.
His timing, his ability to improvise. I look at
range of what he can play from one end of the spectrum to the other.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
And even when he's not in character, go online and search Mark Wahlberg, Will Ferrell dad jokes.
Oh my God, a riot.
They're a riot and a half, and that's just these two guys. They're friends, but that's just these guys being themselves, literally, no character, no nothing.
He also Google Chad Smith and Will Ferrell drum off.
Yes, I've seen that too.
On the Tonight Show.
Fallon. Yeah,
Jimmy Fallon. It's a freaking riot. He's just
because he's an accomplished drum player.
He can play.
Yep.
Not, world class, but he can play.
No, right.
And he can sing. He actually can. The dude can sing. He is an entertainer. He is a classic comedic entertainer that can do other things.
It just made me think of also when he did lip sync battle on Tonight Show with Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
And, oh my God, there's so many little, from movies to little 5-minute clips. Remember he put the Sox jersey? Hey Jeter, Jeter, you suck.
Well, that whole Funny or Die is him and his company. And I mean, that whole thing that he did with his daughter when she was just a little.
God, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I might have watched it 1,000 times, and I laugh every single time.
Yep. Oh, God, the man really is a genius.
Yes.
What do you have at number 8? Did we go through yours yet?
Yep. I had Uncle Bob.
Okay. Yep.
And Brian had Stephen Lynch. Number 7. Brian has Jim Carrey at number 7.
Okay. That's low. In my mind, in my opinion, that's very low.
I don't have him on my list.
What?
I don't have him on my list. He's on my honorable mention list. But this is where when I told you at the beginning that I'm going to show my age.
Yeah.
This is where, because I have a few guys on here that I can't move off. But he has him. He has Jim Carrey at number 7. My number 7, I went old school. Very old school.
Okay.
Don Rickles.
Oh, wow. That's one of those sleeper picks. It's an old school pick.
He is.
I think of the variety shows. I think of Don Rickles. I think of the old school predecessors of like Saturday Night Live and shows like that.
So he was big on, the Friars Club roasts.
Yes.
When Dean Martin used to host them. And he would do it in such a way that was clean.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, when he did it, you would laugh, tears of laughter. He could roast someone and then love them in the next sentence.
Yes.
He's a tremendous actor. One of my all-time favorite movies is Casino.
You have to love that movie.
It's a great movie. He does a fantastic job in that movie. He's a bit actor, but his stand-up, his comedic timing. I'm big on timing.
Timing's everything in comedy.
When I watch,
it's so big.
And his ability to just know the room, like. If you look back and you Google Don Rickles and his insults and things like that, the best part of Don Rickles, he didn't care race, color, creed, nothing. Nothing was sacred. He roasted Wilt Chamberlain. I think it was Wilt Chamberlain, and he was like, all these. I'm surprised something to the effect of all these black guys in the room. I'm surprised they're here and not up robbing my room. So
they did not hold back on those old school roasts. And they all laughed. Like I said before, when we talked about Blazing Saddles, back when that movie was made and that was back when we used to just laugh at that shit. Mm-hmm. People didn't get uptight and freak out and yell at you that you're not allowed to say it. We all just laughed together because of the stereotype, and then we moved on. Because it was a joke.
Yes.
It was a fucking joke.
Yes.
We used to tell those things back when people knew how to laugh a long time ago.
So I went. I struggled with Rickles, but I truly believe he deserves to be up on the top 10 of funny people because
that's a kicking old school pick. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I didn't go that far old school, but I did go old school with my number 7. I have Rodney Dangerfield as number 7.
Yep.
The man was some of my first experience to comedy. And then seeing a comedic like stand-up guy in a movie, Back to School, one of my dad's favorite movies. I must have seen that movie 100 times when I was a kid.
Yeah,
he's just absolutely hilarious. Him standing up on
Caddyshack.
I was getting like,
oh, okay.
These were movies. No. But like every great comedian that's busted into movies has had that few years where they make 4 or 5 killer movies that everybody remembers, right? Like Jim Carrey made the Ace Venturas and The Mask and Cable Guy and stuff. And that you had Rodney Dangerfield that made Back to School and Caddyshack popularizing themselves when they were huge.
Yeah.
And that was right around when I was a kid and started watching stuff. And he was just his, how he always, hey, I get no respect. And, my wife hung meat around my neck so the dog would play with me.
Yeah.
His timing, like you said, his delivery was everything. And it made a young Maki laugh his ass off more than a bunch of times.
Yeah.
And then through the years, just seeing some of his older stand-up, once the internet became more prominent, you could go and look up some of your favorite comedians and all the shit that they did from years and years ago was all there.
Yep.
And I didn't realize that Dangerfield would get raunchy, man. He'd drop more than a few Fs here and there. Him and Johnny Carson had famous appearances together on The Tonight Show a long time ago. They were very good friends.
Yes.
But Rodney ticked every box. If you wanted a friendly comedic actor that was in the movie like Ladybugs, the young kid about the soccer, or if you wanted somebody that was going to stand on top of the diving board, do the armpit fart and do the triple Lindy coming off of the, you had him. Or if you had a guy that would tell some nasty race jokes, man, let me tell you this much right now. He was just fantastic. I love Rodney.
That's a good pick.
Yeah.
What do you got at number 6?
Number 6 is another guy that fits into the Rodney Dangerfield mold of has been this actor, but then can also kick it up a notch, is Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy has been known for, at least in my lifetime, of Eddie Murphy Raw.
Yep.
The old comedic skit that he did. I think it was early 80s, or was that late 70s?
That was early 80s. And
was early 80s.
And then you had Delirious.
Right
afterwards. So I think Raw was 84. I want
Okay.
to say 84-ish. Delirious was 86-ish,
Right.
86, 87, I think.
Coming to America wasn't that far after that.
That was 88, 89.
Right. So here's
Yep.
a guy that literally has, like, his began by
Saturday
dominating for
Night
10
Live.
years. Saturday Night Live. Oh my God. He helped make the beginning of Saturday Night Live. With that cast that was on in the beginning, they had so many stud actors on that show. And Eddie Murphy playing the bit characters that he did. Just absolutely phenomenal.
Oh, Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood kills me.
Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood, Gumby.
Yep.
These are iconic characters. And you had Mr. Rogers, who was the hello, everybody, boys and girls. And then Mr. Robinson, yo, who that?
Yo, like, who that?
So opposite.
Word of the day is kleptomaniac. Can you say kleptomaniac?
The knock on that door means it's time to go. The policeman wants to talk to Mr. Robinson, and I don't have anything to say to him. So good night, everybody. But then later, you had in the late 90s, early 2000s, he starts doing movies like Dr. Dolittle and The Nutty Professor and changed his image completely.
Absolutely. Daddy Daycare.
Daddy Daycare is another one. Absolutely.
That was in 2000s. That was in the early, 2010-ish, I think.
Something like that, yeah. But all of it maintaining a stupid high level of comedy. And then later on, in like a little like alternate timeline, we had some Dave Chappelle stuff with his brother Charlie Murphy, who brought Eddie into the fray, and we learned a lot of shit about Eddie back in the set. So like, he's not just been his own; he's been talked about by like other comedians on their shows as well.
I have Eddie higher.
Okay, yep.
I have him higher. Brian has what do we have? 6? So 10, 9.
Yes.
6. Brian's got someone here that I struggled putting in my top 10. I ended up leaving him off. Chris Farley.
Okay. Yep.
I struggled leaving him off, but I only left him off because he burns so bright, so quick. Drugs do incredible things on people.
Fact.
And
not all of them good kids.
Not all of them good kids. And unfortunately, he is the poster child of addiction.
Yes.
Unfortunately, because he truly was again, we throw the term comedic genius.
Oh, absolutely. You talk about timing.
Tommy Boy, you take a look at any of his movies from that time, and the him and David Spade together.
Oh my God.
So I agree with the pick. I'm good with it being number 6. Like I said, I don't have him on mine. But it's a good pick. My number 6 is I'm bringing that up to some. He's not old school yet, but he's getting there. I have Adam Sandler.
I love it.
At number 6.
I love it. Yeah, no, not old school yet. Same generation as like Will Ferrell and Jim Carrey. They're about the same.
Adam Sandler is older than people realize when he came about in the late 80s.
Was it late 80s? I thought it was like early mid 90s that he jumped on Saturday Night Live.
It was I'm sorry. It was it would have been 1991, 92. Because and I only know this because we used to play cards at a friend's house almost every night, poker, some type of poker. Matter of fact, we had one summer we played 6 nights a week for the entire summer.
Nice.
Oh man, it was great. But I remember a dude bringing in the Adam Sandler tape. It was the first time I heard Toll Booth Willie, and the first time I heard At a Median Pace.
That's right.
And I literally almost shit my pants from laughing.
Absolutely.
Being a 21-year-old kid. Sandler is one of those ones that has reinvented himself several times. From his early stuff, which is still some of my favorite comedies, Happy Gilmore. Oh my God,
Billy Madison.
Thank you, Billy Madison.
Yeah.
Things like that. To then you had he went more drama with like Click and a couple of things like that.
He followed a very similar path in my mind that Eddie Murphy did.
Yep.
In the beginning, he started with more movies that were more gruff around the edges and stuff. But as he got older, it's almost like he mellowed out. He started playing more dad characters.
Yep. Like
and
Grown Ups and Grown Ups 2.
Yes.
Again,
they're classics.
I love them. I laugh. But his recent stand-up was tremendous.
The one on Netflix there a couple years ago?
The one on Netflix from last year.
I still walk around singing phone, wallet, keys.
Yes.
Phone, wallet, keys.
I mean, that whole thing there, you had, you can go back to his Saturday Night Live stuff and, realize, just how funny he is.
When he sang about the lunch lady.
The lunch lady. So, yes, he is my number 6 pick. Brian's got him a little higher. What do you got number 6?
Number 6 was where I had Eddie Murphy. So we've already made the round. So we're up to number 5 now.
Oh, we're at number 5.
We cracked the top 5. Yeah, we cracked the top 5 right now. And I'm going to be quick about this one because he was already mentioned. Number 5, this is where I have Mel Brooks.
Fair enough.
For being the historical, comedic, cultural genius that he is.
Yep. And we're going to be quick on Brian's because that's where he has Adam Sandler.
Perfect.
And we're going to be quick on mine because that's where I have Will Ferrell.
Perfect. And let me just keep this going.
Yeah.
Number 4 is where I have Adam Sandler.
Okay.
For every single reason. We're just buzzing through this one. What do you got for number 4, Tim?
Number 4, I'm kicking it real old school.
Okay.
I'm going Richard Pryor.
Oh, I love it.
I got Pryor at number 4. He was truly in my early days of bootlegging, watching things that my mother told me not to watch.
Yep.
We're talking in the late 70s and things like that. I can remember him in Brewster's Millions.
That was a good movie.
The movie Toy, where he was
Never saw that.
Oh, he was the Jackie Gleason was the rich dude whose son wanted the handyman who is Richard Pryor to be his toy.
Okay.
So they can buy whatever they want.
Yep.
So, things like that. Pryor was he was rude. He was crude.
But he was a hilarious dude. When I was a kid, some of my first experience with Richard Pryor was watching him, like I said, on the old Dean Martin roasts.
Yeah.
I never heard much of his stand-up growing up, not till I was much older and I could find it on the internet.
Yeah.
But growing up, when I was a kid, you used to get to see a lot of those roasts that they'd put on wicked late night, like 2 a.m.
Yep.
And I remember hearing Richard Pryor, and of course, everything even then was still all bleeped out. But you knew what he was saying.
Yep.
And that guy gave no fucks whatsoever.
No. Brian's number 4. This is where he has Dave Chappelle.
Oh, I didn't even put Chappelle on my list.
I don't have him on my list. I think he's funny.
I don't know if I could have squeezed him in this top 10. Maybe if I got rid of Andrew Dice Clay, I could have put Chappelle in there.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Chappelle is funny.
Yeah.
Like his news, he is. I can't argue, I can't argue this one. I think, I don't know as if I would put him that high, but again, this is Brian's list. This is who he believes to be the funny people, and that's, again, he's a funny dude. Chappelle's a funny dude.
He's a wicked funny dude. His show ran on Comedy Central for a few years. I know there was a lot of backstage drama on that.
Oh, sure.
But there was so many funny parts that permeated culture about that. And I think almost his show did more for him than his stand-up did, because it permeated more eyes. It got on Comedy Central. We learned about the Charlie Murphy true Hollywood stories from that, and so many other funny characters that came out of that show.
Yep.
That show was absolutely hilarious. By the way, fast fact about that show, my mother stole all 3 seasons of that box set that I had, and she still has it. She won't give it back to me because she watches it all the time because it's hilarious. Mom, I love you. You can have them.
Brian at number 3 has Chris Rock.
See, I would totally disagree with that. I don't find Chris Rock all that funny. It's not
I
that he's
am
not funny. I would never put him in my top 10.
well again. I personally,
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Mhm.
He could be funny, but that's who he's got at number
I
3.
might not have just heard enough of his stand-up. I've heard some of his stand-up, and it is funny, but
It's funny, but I think a lot of people are funny that I don't have on the list.
true.
Dane
True.
Cook. Dane Cook, I think, is a riot. I don't know.
Dane
I don't
Cook
have
would have been on this list if he didn't burn himself out in 2.5, 3 years.
right.
If he stayed on and didn't do the little sappy love story movies all the time on VH1 after that just to get paid, if he kept stand-up, I think he would have been. Although the movie Waiting is fucking hilarious.
What do you have at number 3?
Number 3, I changed my top 3 a little bit. Previously, we were talking in the show, and I kind of looked at this and went, this is wrong. I got to fix this. So at number 3, this is where I have Jim Carrey.
Okay.
He was the Rodney Dangerfield, the Eddie Murphy of my generation growing up. Between him and Farley, with the Ace Venturas and the Black Sheep and Tommy Boy, those 4 movies, they're like 4 of my favorite movies my entire life. So number 3, I have Jim Carrey. So many obvious reasons.
I enjoy Jim Carrey. He's a funny dude. His acting in Me, Myself, and Irene was a riot.
Oh my God. Yes, it was.
It was a riot. I find Jim Carrey funny. I just don't have him on my list because I don't know who to take off.
Correct. I got you.
So,
who do you have at number 3?
I have Mr. Raw and Delirious himself, Eddie Murphy.
This is where Eddie Murphy, absolutely. I love it.
I got Eddie at number 3. The Golden Child, Beverly Hills Cop, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. I don't know how many there are now.
37 of them. I think they're working on 38 right now.
Yeah, something like that. Again, funny guy. Brian and I have the exact same number 1 and number 2, which doesn't surprise me because based on the conversations that he and I have had.
Since I've changed mine up, we may also agree.
So I'll let Brian go at number 2. He's got George Carlin.
Okay.
That is who I have at number 2 as well. Carlin is a true genius. I'm not even saying comedic genius. He is a genius when it comes to his ability, or when it came to his ability to tell a story that made you think. At the same time, it was damn funny. And I had the pleasure of seeing Carlin live. One of his shows out in Vegas. The first
you got to see him in Vegas? That's awesome.
The first time Angie and I went to Vegas in April of 2000, we got tickets to see him perform. And I laughed so much I cried. I cried so much I laughed.
Mm-hmm.
I left thinking, which is, normally you leave a comedy show and you're laughing.
Oh my God, that bit was so funny. Remember when he talked about his car and that girl that he left in there or whatever, and you're talking about a bit, something that made you laugh. You're right. George was not just a comedian. He was just a great talker. He was so smart.
He was a philosophical comedian.
Yes, there's the word. Yes.
And the world is a better place because he was in it. And it's in a worse place because he's not in it anymore.
I could not agree more.
His unique takes on anything and everything. There was nothing that was off limits. He really made you think while doing comedy. And it takes a special kind of genius to do that.
And then he also knew the right second to snap you out of it with the punchline of the 10-minute story he just told you. that
Yep.
culminated into a 2-sentence punchline, and 10,000 people erupt.
Yeah. Yeah. George Carlin was is an absolute amazing comedian, actor, philosopher. Just that's my number 2.
I love it. I love it. I do not have George Carlin number 2.
Well, you're wrong.
No, I'm not. I'm absolutely not. Number 2, I have Robin Williams. Robin Williams, from a lot of his older stand-up to his later years before he passed, never changed.
Mm-hmm.
Never changed. He was always wild, zany, and out there. He wasn't really like, he was more your traditional physical comic. He didn't say a lot like the intellectual things. Later on, as he got older and was given his platform to speak his piece about things, that was different. But for his comedic value, his timing, he was classically trained. He went to Juilliard, film school.
Yep.
Not all your random actors just went to a school like Juilliard. That's like going to Harvard and saying you got a regular college degree. No, you went to Harvard and you got the best degree you possibly could. He went to Juilliard.
He got the best degree he possibly could in entertainment.
Absolutely.
Yep.
The man was absolutely brilliant, but didn't rub it off on you that he was just so smart. He just told stories and told jokes. Look up Robin Williams golf. It's all you need to watch.
Yep.
It's one of the funniest skits that exists out there.
Yep.
His untimely passing a couple of years ago was honestly, and like you said, the world is a worse place without him here. Didn't matter what movie, from Mrs. Doubtfire to Jack to Mork and Mindy, the old TV show that was on in the 80s, which my mother still says was my first word when I was a little boy. I went out and would go, nanu, nanu. Like, I'm a huge Robin Williams fan. I have him at number 2.
Okay. Who's your number 1?
My number 1 is absolutely George Carlin.
Okay.
It's 100% absolutely George Carlin. I've been very personally connected to George Carlin my whole life. I remember sneaking into my mother's, not like personally, like I never really knew him, but I've always been drawn to him specifically.
Yes. Yeah.
I remember being like 8 years old, going in my mother's closet back in 1988 and getting out an old George Carlin album and putting it on the record player and listening to a skit that he does called Football and Baseball. And when you're 8 years old, it is really, and I'm not going to even blow it right now. This is old George Carlin, not this new stuff where he was, just less in your face because he was getting older. He was more educating. Late in the beginning, it was all hands on deck, all hell breaking loose. And a lot of things people don't know. The first 10 years of George's career, he never swore. He never swore.
Nope.
He was as clean as a whistle. And then something happened to him in the mid to late 70s. I think it was the 7 dirty words you couldn't say.
Yeah.
I think that was when he came up with it.
Yeah.
He came up with the 7 dirty words, and that literally transformed Carlin's career into the man who did cuss every dirt. We got to see him not out in anywhere huge. There's a little tiny theater down in Cohasset, Massachusetts called South Shore Music Theater. It only sits like 1,200 people. It's a theater in the round kind of thing. Yep. And we had like 6th row seats. I could see the individual hairs on his head. Like we were so close. Cool. And he looked at us. I mean, as he looks at everybody but he looked at us several times during the thing. And I've just always been very, very connected to him. And I've always drawn off of him. I used to tell comedy stuff to my friends because I didn't have a lot of friends. So when I was a kid, I used to be like, oh, you guys want to hear something funny? And I'd repeat a George Carlin skit.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. The world is a significantly worse place without him. And Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure is not the same if it wasn't George Carlin and we don't have Rufus. No, it was not the same.
You're absolutely correct. My number 1 and Brian's number 1 is Robin Williams.
Okay, so we just flip-flop.
We just flip-flop.
A little tiny bit. Yep.
I will tell you that the ability of Robin Williams to improv anything at any time is a very special skill. Yes, he was classically trained. He was trained at Juilliard, but his, just Google Robin Williams' first appearance on the Tonight Show. And it's 17 minutes of Jimmy Carson. Jimmy. Well, it's Johnny's brother, Jimmy.
Okay.
Jesus. It's Johnny Carson just sits back like this, and Robin goes off for like 17 minutes.
No shit.
It is
I'll have to watch
absolutely phenomenal. I mean, Carson would get a few words in, but he just let him go. And you can see times where Carson would turn and cover his mouth because he was laughing so hard. He did the same thing with David Letterman. Letterman would let him go. As he moved later in life, his comedic genius took on a different role. You watch him in Good Will Hunting, and you realize that, damn, the dude can act.
Yes.
The scene where he's on the bench talking to Matt Damon is completely improvised.
That was all improv, really?
Yes. It started out from what I've read, it started out on script. And then he just completely went off script for, I think it's like 5 or 6 minutes. It's whatever that speech is. And it's just improv. The World According to Garp is one of the first movies he was truly in. Funny. Just Good Morning Vietnam.
Yes.
That was improv. 95% of that was improv. That was not scripted.
Really?
No, it was improv. Like, he just...
I mean, like, I believe it with it being Robin Williams. I absolutely believe it. But that's such a classic movie at this point. Like, everybody, you say, "What? You ever see them?" Oh, Good Morning Vietnam.
Oh, yeah. So, I get, again, depression is a terrible. I could go on an entire show about depression. It's something that I've battled for. How old am I? 50. I have battled some form of depression for 35 years, 36 years. Not to the extent, obviously, as Robin Williams. Not to the extent as others. But I have battled depression for a long time.
It's a very real fight. It's a very real thing.
It is. I've never needed, I struggled to talk about it just because I never needed drugs. I never needed, I don't even know what they take for depression, anxiety, whatever it is. I battled it my own way, and I still do to this day. I just know how to deal with it now. So I know when it's coming, and I do the things that make me happy because I know that that's one way I can battle it. But
Right.
Robin Williams, if you look at his suicide and you look at a lot of actors, a lot of comedians, a lot of musicians that end up committing suicide, people around them will tell you he seemed so happy.
Yes.
Robin Williams seemed so happy. When he won the Academy Award, just watch it, Google it. You can watch it, YouTube it. It's real emotion. I am a diehard Robin Williams fan, from his stand-up to his improvisational skills to his timing that we've discussed. Truly a genius when it comes to
absolutely
when it comes to that. I mean, we've gone way over, so we'll wrap this up in a minute.
Yeah, we have. This was a good one to talk about, though.
Oh God, yeah. Well, of course, it probably didn't help that the first 20 minutes was talking about Vegas, but
well,
whatever. You and I together talking, huh? Well,
don't
shit.
put cameras in our face. Jesus
Christ. Don't do that. And look, we left off some pretty hefty names like Steve Martin, Bill Murray, Jack Black, Buddy Hackett, old school.
Steve Martin and Bill Murray. I was trying to find places for them, but I just couldn't.
John Belushi. I was trying to find place. Zach Galifianakis, who I think is an absolute riot.
Yeah.
Mike Myers again.
He was another one. I couldn't find a place. I mean, maybe I could have, but there's a couple personal picks that I had to put on this list.
Well, that's it. I mean, did I need Uncle Bob? Probably not, but damn it, he deserves to be up there.
And I couldn't agree more with that because he's fucking hilarious.
Yes.
He's just more of a local guy around here, so he just hasn't really made it huge yet. But if more people heard his stuff, they'd realize how funny this guy is.
So.
But no, great show, bud. This was good.
Folks, please send us your questions. I know Calvin doesn't like it when I say it, but I'm saying it. Send us your questions. Send us your comments. rippingtherackpodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook at Ripping the Rack Podcast. You can find us on YouTube at Ripping the Rack Podcast, Twitter at Ripping the Rack Podcast. And, Brian's not here to do his shtick, so I will say.
Do you know the places?
I do. I'm the one that sets them up. So I
let me know. Where else can they hear Ripping the Rack Podcast?
They can hear us on iTunes, iHeartRadio. They can hear us on Anchor, on Breaker, on Google Podcast, on what other podcasts are there? A whole bunch of them that are
iHeartRadio.
I already said that one.
Okay. Yep. Then Spotify. Are we on Spotify? Okay.
We are on Spotify.
Chances are, if you turn on a form of podcast media, you can find
us
Ripping the Rack Podcast.
Ripping the Rack Podcast. You will find Marky and Brian on Sunday nights on Johnny Death Drop's Twitch channel, Dudes and Belts Wrestling Chatcast.
Yes, sir.
And you will find us on Tuesday mornings, starting at 7 a.m. is when it goes live. 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's 8 a.m. for you Canadian folks that live in the Maritime provinces.
Yes.
And that it's all Candlepin Bowling all the time. And then you will find us again Friday mornings where we talk whatever we want to talk about.
Free Fun Friday. You never know what you're going to hear.
We do not have a top 10 list for not next week, but the week after. We will come up with something. We'll figure it out.
I think that could be the Las Vegas synopsis for what happened on the Materos family trip to Vegas.
We'll talk about Vegas, and we'll talk about, you know what? Why don't we talk about vacation spots? Where we like to go? What do we like to do?
I like that.
And then the following week we'll figure out another top 10 list of some sort. Maybe it's top 10 bands, maybe it's top 10 concerts we've seen, something. We'll figure it out.
Cool.
Something music related. I
like music. I was just thinking that. I like kicking it into music a little bit.
Yeah, we haven't done music for a while. So we'll talk about that, and we'll come up with some type of music. Something.
Love it.
And we'll go from there.
Sounds good.
So, thank you. Appreciate it. And guys, have a great weekend, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Enjoy, buddy. Have a good time while you're out there. Be safe.
Woo-hoo.
Win some money.
Right. Win some money.
Win some money.